How do you deal with shitty coworkers that just freaking suck without losing your sanity? Yeah, we've all been there, and I'm gonna show you what I would do if I was in your situation and how I can move forward and leave them behind. Hey friends, my name is Shodawan. I'm your work hype man, and this is the Work Happier podcast where I answer your questions, your DMs, your emails, and we help you get hired, paid, and happy. And if you want me to answer your question next, email us at podcast@workhap.com or send me a DM through IG at workhappierpodcast, and I will answer you in the next episode. So let's get into it today. How do you actually deal with awful people you just have to work with? And honestly, this isn't just me throwing out random advice and me just saying what only my experience is. This topic comes straight from you. These are the DMs that I got. And the first one is actually from Zihao. And Zihao says, "Hi Sho, how do I manage a boss who plays favorites? It is terribly difficult to survive. My team plays well together and agree that my boss is not an easy boss." You know what, Zihao? If I was in your shoes, and I actually have been in your shoes before, sometimes we have to take a little bit of step back and appreciate what we do have. Because it's not like you're coming in and you're like, "Sho, my boss is terrible, makes my life a living hell, and my team members all hate me, and I'm all alone, and I cry a lot." Right? Like, if it was all that, and you're like, "I can't stand another day at work," yo, Zihao, I'm with you. But you're coming in and saying, the facts. These are facts. At least based off the DMs, this is the facts. Your boss plays favorites, your team works well together, and you all agree that your boss is not an easy boss. I would actually say this is a pretty typical normal situation in corporate America or corporate wherever you're from. This is just a standard part of the game. And I'm not saying that you should just like stand still and let your boss play favorites, but there's kind of only one or two options. The first option is that you find another boss and you just find someone who doesn't play favorites. But if you do that, you lose this team that you really like. Well, it seems like you like, right? So that's option one. And the second option, which might be a little bit less dramatic, is you just play the game with your boss. And I'm not saying you play the game and shove your other team members under the bus because your boss plays favorites and you suck up to them. Don't do that. But you play the game, right? Like, if a boss has favorites, they're gonna have favorites for different things. So do what you can to be on the good side of your boss. Don't sabotage anybody, but you could still be in a place where your boss likes you and you could also lift the others up too. So that's what I would recommend. I would probably recommend option 2 because you have other things going well for you as well. Find a way that you can work well with your boss, maybe even have a discussion with your boss. I would refrain from saying, "Hey, you're playing favorites and I don't like that." I would refrain from saying anything like that because, again, that might jeopardize you and your path. But I think what you got to do is understand that no boss is perfect, no person is perfect, no job is perfect. And it seems like in your situation that you like your job, you like your team, that your boss might just play a little bit of favorites, right? But it seems like to me that there are still enough good things for you to stick it out and potentially work it out internally before moving externally. That's my 2 cents. Have a discussion with your boss, maybe not about them being a favorite, but how you can perform better, how you can be a better team member, how you can make their life easier. So hint, play the game to be their favorite. And once you're their favorite, then you can be their confidant and actually say like, "Hey, well, the team's actually been doing really well. You know, the person who's just new, they're actually doing really good stuff here. Maybe you should want to give them this project." So you're lifting yourself up and then you can lift everyone else up too. Okay, that's the hack for you. So Zihao, I hope that helps you realize that you're not alone here, but that also things could be a lot worse. Appreciate what you have. Yes, handle it the way that you gotta. But I got this other DM from Layla that might make you understand why I'm saying the grass is not always greener, right? So this is what I got this DM from Layla. "Hey Sho, how do I deal with the manager who's micromanaging me? Takes credit for all the ideas that I come up with and throws me under the bus when she does something wrong. What the f-? She's very passive aggressive with me, even though I have been vocal about how I'd like to be managed." Good. When we had a meeting about it. "I don't want to lose my job because I need to be able to stay in the UK. I'm on a visa. I would also like a promotion because I need to afford rent and bills. I'm not sure how to go about it, but I feel so burnt out. Please help me! Exclamation mark, exclamation mark. Thank you." Oh, Layla, this one's tough. This one is tough, my friend. And this is why I said, to the last DM, I think it was Zihao, right? Zihao, where sometimes you have to appreciate what you have because the grass isn't always greener, my friend. So Layla, if you're watching this, I hope you're okay. I feel for you because I can feel it from your words that you're frustrated, that you are just over it and want all of this to be better. So that's why I'm here, right? So that's why I'm here and here to help you. My 2 cents, we got to tackle this into 2 areas. We got to first look into your manager and how you can improve that relationship or just improve that situation with your toxic manager. And second is what we do with the promotion. I think it's best to split these up because these are 2 separate things. You got a manager to deal with and you want a promotion. Let's first start off with your toxic manager. So with your toxic manager, you really got 2 options here. Again, same thing with Zihao. You can go external with this problem, which means you find a new company, new manager, new team. The second option is now you going internal. And internal can look like a lot of different things, but internal can look like you dealing with it with the manager directly and seeing if there's a solution there. Going internal can also mean if you switch managers or you switch teams and you find somewhere else. Going internal can mean also you talk to someone senior at the company or you potentially even talk to HR, which I probably don't recommend, but just saying it's an option, right? So I think before we go into anything, you got to think of what is my next step for me, going external or internal? And I think based off of what you're telling me, I think internal is the route. You've tried dealing with the manager. If you've had conversations with the manager, if things really don't improve and your mental health is worsening by the day, sometimes you just can't change people. Sometimes people are and if they're you don't want to be around them. So you really have to ask yourself that question. How much longer can you stand in this room with this manager before you're gonna break? And I don't want you to push yourself to that limit. So if I were you, my friend, I would look at the other options that we talked about. But ultimately, this is something that you gotta face head on. Have the confidence, know that you have value, know that you're worth it, and do the things that you gotta do. Either speak to them again directly and have that conversation, which might be difficult if they're already toxic, or the other things that we discussed, go find other solutions internally. That might be working for their new team, working a new manager, or again, having a mentor or someone, a senior that can help you through the situation. That's the first part of your DM, right? Your manager is The second part of the DM is you really want a promotion. And that's probably the biggest thing we gotta focus on, Leila, is how you're saying you want a promotion, right? You're saying you want a promotion because it's gonna help you pay rent. It's gonna help you pay the bills. But you know what? No company in the history of companies ever gives a raise or a promotion to an employee because they need the money. Companies will only give good employees a raise when you're bringing value to them that's helping them make money. So I really want you to shift your mindset here of like, of course, totally makes sense that you want a promotion, and by the looks of it, you probably deserve a promotion because you're going above and beyond what your manager's asking from you, right? So you deserve a promotion, but how you ask for it is very, very important. And it's probably gonna be the difference between you getting it and you not getting it. So I want you to take things out of your brain about like, well, I need the money to pay for rent. I need the money to pay for bills. I want you to now start thinking, I deserve the money because I've been adding in this win. I deserve the raise because I've been taking over this person's role who has been gone for the last 6 months. I deserve the promotion because I've been acting as a senior to everyone around my team. It's these wins that you really gotta highlight for yourself and really have this great brag sheet that you can then go into your manager and say, for the last 6 months, 9 months, year, I've been doing XYZ work. These are my wins. This is the ROI for the company. And based off the research that I've seen from other companies for similar roles, this is the promotion that I would like. And I want you to ask back to the manager, what are the steps that we can take to help me get there? So this is where you're now working with the manager who's gonna help see that in you, recognize that you want this, and can work with you to get to that level. With all that said, the tactics and strategy that I just shared right there, it only works if you have a manager who's effective and is a good listener and is a good manager, right? So that's why you can't do both of these problems together with this current situation, because you do have a manager who's not the best manager. So you gotta figure that out first. You gotta figure out the manager problem first. Once you're at a good place, then you figure out the promotion problem. Out of the two, this is probably more important. So Zihao and Layla, thanks for those DMs. We got one more DM now from Giancarlo. And this is what he says. He says, hey, Show, would it be cool for me to request a topic? Maybe it's coming, maybe it's not, but you mentioned a couple of videos before about difficult coworkers. Any advice you could offer about how to deal with awful people you just have to work with? So yes, Giancarlo, you're at the right place. Let me share with you what I would do. And like I said before, everyone's been in this situation before, right? So you're not alone. Don't feel like you're helpless and that things won't ever get better. You're probably just in a bad situation right now, but things will change and things will improve with time, with you doing some things. So sharing my own story, I've had lots of coworkers back in the day, some amazing, some great, some friends that I even invited to my wedding that we're still friends to this day, right? 10 plus years later. On the other side too, where as soon as I left, I couldn't wait to never speak to them again. And I remember this one recruiter that I was actually working with. So I was working the HR team back in my last job at Lalamove. And you know what? Bless her soul. She was a recruiter and she's a hungry recruiter. And if you've ever been around HR folks or recruiter folks, you know that recruiters are really salesmen at the end of the day. And salesmen can be tough, can be cutthroat, can be a little intense, right? Depending on numbers. She was so intense to the point where she didn't give a fuck about any of our team members. She just cared about sucking up to the main boss, to the head of HR. To be honest, I saw the game. It was just annoying to deal with, right? It's just annoying when somebody's just like so clearly kissing up and pushing everyone else down. It's just like, dude, I don't really want to work with you at this point. I think for the most part, I tried my best to just like steer away from that. It's like, okay, well, if they're working on this, I'd rather not work on this. And I just kind of let my work speak for itself, especially with my manager, who I thought was a good manager and can recognize everyone's talent. But the situation really escalated when you're actually working directly with her. And my manager put me on a project with her. And I just remember kind of just like leveling with her and just saying, yo, like, I don't think we're going to see eye to eye on this project. And I think it would actually probably be best if you work on this part and I work on this part. And if there's anything that we need, yeah, of course, you ask me if you need help and I can ask you for support, but probably best if we just work on this, let's finish it up and give it to our manager, and that's that. Right? So that's how kind of I handled the situation, where I recognized the game that she was playing and I just didn't want to play it. Because if I wanted to play that game, then I'd also have to be nasty. I'd also have to go behind her back or someone else's back to kiss up to my manager. And I just didn't want to do that. Before you do anything, just take a pause and assess the situation, right? Like pause before you react and understand, why do you think this awful coworker is acting like this? Is it because they may be behind other numbers? Is it because maybe they're going through some personal Is it because maybe they're just a team member and they just will never be someone that you're pleasant, that's gonna be pleasant to work with? Whatever the situation is, just assess it before you immediately react, before you immediately put a judgment. So now you understand the game and you understand the situation. Now it's time for you to set your boundaries, right? You wanna set your boundaries. Because what I've learned working with people and different energies and different personalities, sometimes you have to protect your own peace to do the best work. Because if you are really introverted and you don't get energy from working with other people, especially loud, abrasive people, you're not gonna do your best work if you are paired with this person all the time. Yeah, of course, there's gonna be some dynamics where you have to interact, but for the most part, you really gotta understand what you do well and how you do it well and set those boundaries. You don't necessarily have to have that direct one-to-one meeting with them and just say like, hey, I appreciate your input, but I think I got this covered. I'll come to you if I need your help. Right? So you can say something like that. Or you can say kind of what I said is like, I would love for you to own this piece and I'll own this piece, and let's meet in the middle once you're at a good place. Right? So there's different phrases that you can say to kind of subtly hint to them that I'm gonna work on this, maybe you should work on that, and kind of just separate, right? Like you don't have to be best friends with everybody. As long as the work gets done, as long as no one is sabotaging anybody, it's all fine. So let's say you do that, but it's still, things are not great and it's just kind of awkward with the team. The next route is potentially escalating this to someone more senior. It could be your boss, it could be another senior manager, it could be another mentor, but I'm talking about like just like petty and you're just like, oh, I don't really like the way that you're talking to me. Does that really need to be escalated? My personal thoughts is no, and I think it's actually better for you to handle this internally. But again, you've tried that, you've tried to set your boundaries, you've tried to assess this, and it's still not improved. I do think it might be a value add to have a team meeting with not just your manager and talk behind their back, but just everyone involved. Bring the manager in, bring the coworker in, bring maybe the other coworkers in, and just take the initiative and said, hey guys, I would love for us to work more collaboratively as a team. What are some things that we can all do together to make that happen? And let your manager hear this as well, right? And let other people chime in. So with all that said, let's go back to the first question from Zihao, from Layla, from now Giancarlo. How do you deal with awful people that you work with? Well, this is how you do it. Before you do anything, just take a pause. Just chill a little bit, right? Like, don't overreact. Maybe you're not having the best day. Maybe you're in a bad mood. Maybe they're not having the best day. Maybe they're not in a great mood. Just assess a situation before you do anything. Before you do anything drastic. Assess what's going on. Assess what they really want. Maybe even assess yourself. Just take a pause before you really take any action. The second thing is, now you have a better understanding of them and maybe even better understanding of you. Try to set boundaries that works, right? So if you really don't want to work with them, I think that's you choosing projects that don't relate to them. Or if you do have to work with them, maybe also setting boundaries there, just saying, I'll work on this and you work on this. And the last thing that you could do is escalate to their team member, which I don't really recommend, but instead I recommend you to make this a more collaborative thing and have a team meeting with everybody, your manager, that team member, other team members, and just see what can be a win-win for everybody. Make this a collaborative thing and make it maybe even fun, right? Like if you can find a way to make work fun and easygoing and chill for everybody, that's a win. So with that, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you're working with an awful coworker, or you're not, trust me, it'll happen and it happens to everybody. I hope you got some good tips from this today that you can take moving forward as well. If you have any questions, any DMs, any topics that you want me to cover next, email us at podcast@workhap.com or DM us at workhappierpod on Instagram. Until next time, my friend, stay confident, keep working on you like, and as always, keep working happier. I'll see you next week.